Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. We are going to go ahead and do a gameplay review on a game for the Polygon network called Crixievia. This is a 3D RPG style game that is free to play. So I wanted to go ahead and have this as one of the first couple gameplay reviews that I do for the Polygon network. We'll go ahead and dive through the website very quickly, take a look at the white paper very quickly, and then we'll go ahead and actually jump in there and I'll show you the different parts of the game. I did a stream of this last week. I actually enjoyed it. So if you want to go ahead and see some of the details, for example, some of the early steps where you fight the training dummy and when I get slaughtered in the next dungeon, I encourage you to go ahead and take a look at that stream that I did. It is on YouTube. It's in my live section. I tried a YouTube stream for that. But we're going to go ahead and dive through and show you the basics, show you how to get logged in there and check it out. Couple things that you should know about it. Technically, it's considered on the Polygon network. The NFTs are on the Polygon network, but the token is on the Ethereum network. So be aware of that. If you go ahead and play and you start earning the token, you're going to eventually go over to the Ethereum network anyway. So you do have that cross multi-chain aspect there. Also, the neat thing with this one, I very rarely see it, but starting to see a little bit more, is this is two different types of clients. You can go ahead and download the client for Windows, which will run better just because it's running straight from your machine. So you should feel and see less latency. But you do also have the option of going ahead and checking out the web-based version of it that uses Unity. And I've found a few connectivity issues, but that's based on, we'll blame it on my internet. But it still runs very well, especially for this style of game. So let's go ahead and dive in there. As I mentioned, this is a 3D MMORPG style game. You can go in there after you get past the training dummy. You can play with other people. You'll see them running around in there. It involves crafting, it involves drops, it involves grinding. And if you like that sort of style, this is a game that you may want to check out. And again, it's free to play. This is the website. I'll have a link in the description down below to the website and also their Discord, so you can go ahead and check them out. The format of the website's a little bit different. You try and scroll down and it actually goes to the right, which is kind of interesting. So you can go ahead and read the storyline behind it. I'm not going to go through all those details because I want to get to the gameplay and actually show you what it looks like on the inside. But there is a lot to it and it's still technically in beta. From my understanding, there's actually going to be a big update coming here in the near future. So there will be a follow-up video. We're just going to show the basics in this video. So you just keep scrolling over. You see the different types of tokens that they have for the game itself. There's a ton of NFTs. All the NFTs are on OpenSea. So you can go ahead and check those out. And as I mentioned, there's two different ways to play it. Either when you click on play now, you can either go to the launcher, the client downloads it. So if you're a fan of downloading it, go for it, or you can do the web client, which is what I've been using for it so far. Before we jump into that, I do want to give you a caveat. If you do want to see their white paper, do not go to the menu and the light paper here. It gives you a 404 error, something I think they're going to be correcting. You can actually go over to their Discord in the About section or the FAQ section. I forget which one it is. There's a link to the documentation. You'll see all the details there. Again, I'm going to go through this very quickly. Essentially what you're going to see when we log in there is there's one town with a whole bunch of different features there, different NPCs that you can go check out and eventually give you quests and different items that you can go ahead and do. And the goal of the game is to go into the dungeon and eventually work your way up in the level of dungeon to get better and better rewards from it. Right now it is single player in those dungeons. I heard that there is multiplayer, but it's not the best. But I heard that is going to be fixed in the next update that they do. From the character's perspective, you can go ahead and read through it. You are able to customize your character a little bit. It's still very generic, but you can at least get it. I don't want to say to look like you because it's, again, still there's not a ton you can adjust. You can hair color, eye color, hairstyle. There's a few options for hairstyle, skin color. But there's not a ton outside of that you can go ahead and adjust. The spells is the key part here. You start out with 6 spells. And as you go ahead and get different equipment and you get different gems, or I forget what they call them, the actual, gems. And you can go ahead and put those into your armor and it'll give you additional spells and higher level spells, which will aid you very, very much in the game. As you can tell early on, when you have the novice, there it is, novice, armor, and you have none of the runes and you only have those 6 spells, it's a bit challenging. Again, if you saw my stream, I got slaughtered, and I got slaughtered a lot. Just trying to get used to the game mechanics and everything. As I mentioned, they do have the main city. You can go ahead and take a look at the details through there. The inventory system is pretty good. They have a good number of slots that you can go ahead, at least from the early stage. I'm sure as you get higher level, it's a little bit limited. And they do have professions in the game. So you not only go into these dungeons to go ahead and try and get to the boss, to go ahead and beat the boss and get the loot that you can get out of it, but you can go ahead and on the way to the boss, there's different mobs that you go ahead and fight. There's mining. You can go ahead if you focus on that profession. If you kill a mob and skinning's your profession, you go ahead and skin the mob. And then also you have there's herbalization, basically plants. And you can go ahead and get those in the dungeons also. And as you continue to really focus on your profession, it'll level up so you can go ahead and find and mine different items, which can get then you can go to the forge and the blacksmith and basically create different items that you can use throughout the game. The team themselves, it's a pretty nice team. The one thing I did notice in the Discord, the players are super helpful. So the community for this, I found it is really good so far. Any questions I had, they went ahead and answered it very quickly. In fact, that stream that I did last week, a number of the community members jumped on there, including one of the mods, and they were helping me out. They're answering some questions for me. They're answering some of the questions from other people. Again, because I only started playing it, so I appreciate the community and how much they were helping out. Now, we got all that out of the way. Let's go ahead and actually jump in, and let me show you the game itself. Again, you go to their website, you scroll over a little bit, or you click the Play Now button. You make your selection. We're going to go ahead and do the web interface, which uses Unity. And then we'll go ahead and hit play. Ask you to go ahead and connect your wallet. I'm using MetaMask. So we'll go ahead and sign that and then let it load. Again, it's web-based, so it's completely dependent on your internet. If you have a poor internet, you may want to consider the web client version of it. All right, we are here in the load screen, or I guess the login, the character selection screen. If you don't have a character in here already, it'll basically take you through a process to create your character and do that minimal customization that I talked about. I already have one in there, appropriately named for me, Warrior Lion. So we're going to go ahead and click on play. As you can see, I mentioned this before. I only started testing this out last week, so I am not very far. It does take a bit of grinding to go ahead and get your item level up and get the NFTs. I'm hoping down the road that we'll be able to do some giveaways for some of the NFTs. Like I said, I'm going to do a follow-up video to this, so hopefully we'll be able to do that as part of the video. So let's go ahead and click on play. You get queued to go in. There are some players. Both times that I've been in so far, there have been some players around to help us out. As you can see down here, it is part of beta. It's beta 0.2.1, so we're still actually pretty early in the beta process, but there's a decent amount to the game that you can go ahead and test out. So hopefully we get that upgrade soon, that it can go ahead and show you some additional features, and it fixes some bugs. So when you first jump in here, this is where I'm at right now. I'm actually at the blacksmith. When you first start out the game, you start out right outside the village itself. There is I believe it's a lady that's right there. She'll take you on a quest where you go around and you talk to a whole bunch of, it's 4 different people. So you go around and you talk to those 4 different people, and it gives you just that initial quest that you can go ahead and do. This is the center of it. The graphics aren't bad. They're not stellar either. I don't know if that's the visual that they're going for in this game. You can scroll in, scroll out. You can go ahead and take a look at your character. You can see the characters are pretty generic. Again, I got to keep reminding you, we're in beta, so be aware of that as we're playing this. You can run around. The mechanics themselves were a little different than what I'm used to for some of the other games I've been playing recently, so I'm still getting used to the mechanics themselves. But you can go ahead and learn that. Maybe it's something that you're familiar with. Just going through the screen itself that you see on here. On the top left, you see your normal health bar and mana bar, obviously your character. You can highlight the person, for example, here, if you want to talk to them, whisper them. I think they have whispering in this. I don't know why I would do that, but we'll go ahead from there. That's how you select. On the side here, you have the map up here, which you can zoom in and zoom out. It shows you, highlights the different areas, also obviously exclamation points, or quests that you can go ahead and run, and then targets that you're going for. You have your list of quests over here. You see I'm going to go ahead and try and kill that guy. And then I have a mining quest also. I got to go ahead and mine 10 ore. Across the bottom here is also important, starting on the left bottom here, and I think, yeah, you can all see that. This is your inventory, and as I mentioned, you got a decent amount of space from an inventory perspective, from an early game side of it. It's also filtered. You can go ahead and search, which is nice. You got your statistics. You can go ahead through here as you go ahead and raise your item levels, similar to World of Warcraft. It also raises your stats and your abilities. Spells, as I mentioned, you start out with 6 spells. These are the 6 spells. I'm not going to go through them. I use heal quite a bit, the cleave a lot. Rain of arrows is huge from a distance. That just drops a whole bunch of arrows. Obviously, the name Rain of Arrows. Very useful. And you got a number of other spells that are in here also. Skills, I got a few, as I mentioned. I'm focused on, I chose mining as my profession because I want to go ahead and use the mining to gather materials so I can go ahead and armor and weapons and all that stuff. And as you can see down here, as you go do that and then you take it back to the blacksmith, you have the ability to do smelting and things like that down the road once you have the recipes. Along the bottom here, we got a few more options. This is the spell one that I already showed you. You got groups. I don't know how much this is in play right now, but I think it's going to be more available and as the updates continue to come out. We have players, PvP. Again, I'm not sure if that's available yet. I'm not even going to try because I'll get slaughtered. Settings. The one thing that someone in the Discord did tell me, in the settings, if you're having an issue with the way the camera is, they did suggest clicking over the new style. I still need to test it out a little bit more, so that'll help with the cameras because I know the cameras was the thing that I'm having a tough time adjusting to. And then across here, we have a few other items. That was the graphics. Then we have, this is the professions. As you can see, they have a full profession tree, again, in beta. It's pretty cool to see all that. And then you can go ahead, if you wanted to do the herbalism or if you want to do the skinning, you could have learned those. And then as you're going through and really mining in this case, you'll go ahead and start learning and leveling up the chain, which allows you to mine additional items that you can go ahead and use for different smelting and crafting. Your quest log that you have here, go ahead and close those out. And then you have the tutorial that you can go through, which I'm assuming as you continue to play the game, or as a game continues to get developed, they'll have this, a much longer item, a list of tutorials, which is nice to have that tutorial right in the game that'll help you out there, especially for new players. You have the hotbar here. This is pretty standard. Not only do you have your health up here, it shows you here. As you're fighting, it goes down. And then you have your different spells, which are hotbar across. All right, so that is the basic mechanics. The main 2 quests that you're going to go through initially is the one where you talk to the 4 people that I had mentioned earlier. And the other one is you come down here to the dungeon and you're going to go ahead and actually initially fight the training bot, or the whatever they call the training doll. I forget exactly what they called it. But you can go ahead and fight that. It took me one time just to get used to it, but I was able to beat it on the second time. If you want to see that, go ahead and check out the stream. But we'll go ahead and dive in here. I'll probably get slaughtered again because it does recommend level 10 to go in here, but we'll fight it some more. There is the find group item, the find group selection here. I've also heard that doesn't work the greatest yet, but it will be corrected in the future. But let's go ahead and dive in here, and you can see me die. The one thing the style I've been going with, especially in this early level, is attack and run, attack and run, and attack and run. I was able to get the boss last time, but he beat me pretty quickly. I just don't think I have high enough armor to go ahead and really compete against that boss. So my objective right now is to go through and continue to mine in these dungeons as much as possible and fulfill some of those quests. So when you first log in here, or you're first coming in the dungeon, this is what it looks like. You're going to go down this path and there's going to be some mobs here. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was 3 that come out here and attack me pretty quickly if I get too close. Sometimes you look around because sometimes there are mining and things that you can go ahead and check out. But you see there's 2 spiders and there's a boar. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use the rain of arrow to start out here, and they're already coming. See, that's my internet is not working very well for me. Use shift a lot because that'll get you away from these guys as much as possible. The heal works quite a bit too. So what we're going to do is we're just, like I said, I follow the run and attack mindset. And see, we're just going to, again, and I died. See, I'm not very good. My levels aren't very high. It is challenging. I do have to say, we'll go back to here. From an early level compared, I watched a number of other people's videos. In the early level standpoint, it's challenging. And I can't decide whether it is my items and my armor, or if it's just not very good, which very much could be the answer. But it's probably some sort of combination. I'm getting used to the different things. I'm used to games where if you run this way, it automatically comes around so you can see where you're running. You don't have to try and do the two and see. It's just a little different than what I'm used to. Do I think the game has a lot of potential? Absolutely. Again, this is the beta stage. So I think it's cool to see another one of these games out there. As far as RPG 3D style with a fantasy aspect, I can't wait to see more of that. Some of the other things I really like about it, it's free to play. So you do not need NFTs to go ahead and start. They will help. They will absolutely help if you're able to get the gear to go ahead and do that, but they're not required. And you essentially, if you want to go out and try it, you can go try it. They have the two different clients. They have the downloadable client, the web client. So there's a lot to like about this. And the community is probably one of the better ones that I've jumped into because they're excited to see new players, excited to get people to join and have more people to fight with and play with. So the community is also a great thing. As far as the negatives, I'd have to say the controls is tough and the starting point is tough. Because you do have to grind. You're going to die a whole lot of times in the early stages until you're able to grind up and to get just better armor and get through some of these early quests. So I encourage you all to try it. If you're on Polygon, you're looking for a fantasy RPG style 3D game, check it out. It doesn't hurt anything to go ahead and try it out. Free to play. Again, I will be doing another video. Hopefully by the time the other video comes out with the new features, I'm a little bit better, a little bit higher level, item level. But we'll work through that. Let me know down in the comments below. Are you playing this? How are you enjoying it? Any tips for me? Any tips for anyone else that's watching this video? Also, just let me know what your thoughts are if you're going to go ahead out there and try the game. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.